To all the devotees, the faithful, the well-wishers, and actually all the citizens of the world, suddenly we have been gripped with this coronavirus pandemic, COVID-19. While the fears are rising as we live in uncertain times, which has created so much disruption, not in the area of world health and safety, but also trade and economy, in international relationships, in the way we look at the world and we connect with our own families. As if humanity has suddenly been woken up from a beautiful dream by a nightmare, which seems so real. And actually, when we see that every country and every world leader has created measures that's going to actually stop this entire infection spreading. In such times which are trying, where we really don't know what's going to happen in the next week or the week after, Bhagavan Swaminarayan often said that in times which are difficult and in times of crisis, if we become down and disheartened, that's not the way that our situation will be solved. Helplessness really doesn't help. But if such times are faced with courage, confidence, and a collective consciousness of humanity, then there's always a way of overcoming every challenge that comes towards us. While coronavirus pandemic has generated a huge amount of fear, but we strongly believe that we should not let the fear turn into panic, any form of panic, whether it's through rumors, whether it's through exaggerated fears, whether it's through perceived threats, or whether it's through imagination. We believe that a realistic approach to everything gives us that strength and direction. Guru Hari Mahan Swami Maharaj continues to pray, and not only him, as every leader of every religion, every spiritual institution is comforting and guiding their followers in the right direction. We personally believe that while we wait for the medical world to come up with a medical vaccine, which definitely will be discovered because our scientists and all our research labs are working on it, God has equipped each one of us, humanity as a whole, with so many different vaccines that help us in times of response. Every doctor will tell you that any medicine that's given to a human body depends on how the body responds. Similarly, in the wake of this threat, it's how we as a humanity or society respond that's going to be of paramount importance. So while we wait for a medical vaccine, we should all immunize ourselves with a social vaccine. A social vaccine is our personal hygiene and social hygiene. Cleanliness has always been emphasized not just by world leaders but almost every religious leader. That's perhaps one of the reasons that you see that all the temples created by Pramukh Swami Maharaj are beautiful, clean, and extremely hygienic. Social hygiene and personal hygiene means simple things. The way we wash our hands, take 10 seconds extra to wash your hands. Keep 2 feet extra distance when you talk to people. Remain many more days in your own home without physically touching or physically coming in contact with so many different people. Self-isolation should not just mean loneliness. Self-isolation also gives you the opportunity to reconnect to your own families, to reconnect to your own children, to rewind and introspect and revise our own goals. I do believe that the time that we get with our own families, the time that we get away from the hustle and bustle of life, should also be spent wisely. Whichever religion you believe in, try and reflect upon the scriptures, the ideals. Try and refocus on the morals. Try and tell your children the loving stories that you were told by your forefathers. Try and serve each other. Try and emotionally get on the same level with everyone around you. If you don't have anybody around you, then of course use your phone to talk to 10 people, but with positivity. Try and ask forgiveness from people who maybe are distant, but you would want to reconnect. So this is a time for us to press the reset button and try and reorganize our lives. Just as that would help, so does social hygiene. The way we keep our own homes, rooms, our public places, our streets. It's not just about the coronavirus, it's about changing the habits that we have formed all along the way. And as devotees and as spiritual people, this is not just a rule of a country, this is our social responsibility. Equally important as social vaccine is moral vaccine. Moral vaccine means not generating unnecessary fears. Moral vaccine means not spreading rumors. Moral vaccine also means that if we have symptoms, not to hide them. Moral vaccine also means trying to be honest in the way we treat others. So in being honest in the wake of this crisis, we will be able to really create a better society by taking moral responsibility. Rather than blaming everything on the government or the leaders. Because one thing we should accept and we should realize that every world leader and every country, whether it's been locked down or whether special rules have been created or whether all the actions are being taken, whether isolation wards have been created, but every world leader and every country is doing its best. They are spending sleepless nights in trying to protect the population. So rather than blaming, taking responsibility is a moral vaccine. But what would enable us to have a very strong morality would be our emotional vaccine. Emotional vaccine means, yes, we might have to keep social distance from our own family members, but that doesn't mean we should lose compassion. We must understand that this is a disease and it's not a sin. Anybody could catch the disease. Rather than keep saying that it's a foreign virus, if it's knocking on our doors, it's at our home, it's in our country, then it's something that we have to collectively deal with. So rather than blaming or rather than emotionally distancing yourself from the entire situation, we need to have more compassion, more care, more love. But at the same time, equally important is spiritual vaccine. Spiritual vaccine would be that each one of us has a deep prayer in our heart that God, please guide humanity like you have done through every troubled time. The plague or a pandemic, it's not new to humanity. Sometimes hundreds of years ago or maybe 50 years ago, when such an outbreak happened and it became pandemic and when thousands were dying, at that time our medicine was in its infancy. We did not even have the tools or the equipment as we have them today. Our knowledge was limited, our resources even far more limited. And yet humanity collectively has overcome all these fears. And I believe that God has gifted humanity if it works collectively. So a spiritual vaccine is to rise beyond the differences that divide us. We should come together, forgetting the borders of our country, forgetting the differences of our cultures, the spaces that divide communities, working as one, as a single human being. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, as the whole world is one family. If we can work together spiritually and rise beyond the differences, then our prayers will also be heard that quickly, compassionately. God has given us the ability to guide humanity through all times and through all difficult moments. And we believe that in these times when we have self-isolated ourselves either in our homes or in wards or we have chosen to keep a respectful distance from everything that we know, it's also a time to say prayers to whichever God you believe in, whichever religion that you belong to, in whatever way or form. Even if you are not a believer, you should have a prayer for humanity, and especially reserve the prayers for all the brave medical personnel who are risking their own lives in trying to treat our brothers and sisters. Also, all the leaders and all the administrative people who are taking difficult decisions to make sure that humanity overcomes this in a simpler way. I also believe very clearly that it's no longer you and I, us and them. It's always us and we. Because remember, our Earth is a very small planet floating in the galaxy. It's spaceship Earth. And we do not belong to any other country. We are all Earthlings. And at the same time, when the entire Earth is in crisis, we need to reflect that human beings have gone so far. Despite our prowess and our powers, we are so humbled by a simple microorganism. It's time to also reflect that God created the world, which was interconnected and interdependent. We cannot, in the name of exploration, exploit the natural resources. We need to reconnect to the world, as the ancient Hindu sages often said, that nature is a part of us and we are a part of nature that God created. It's time not just to worship, it's time to repose faith and to preserve and to cherish everything around us with an interconnectivity. Just as interconnectivity is important, our inner connectivity with the spiritual forces, with God, with each soul that exists on this earth is also going to be a very important part as we face this crisis together. Perhaps the most important way to face this crisis is humility and positivity. I mean, do we have a choice? In any times which become negative and dark, the only way out is positivity. It's like we don't have a choice whether we should breathe or not. Theoretically you do. I choose to breathe and I choose not to breathe. But if you want to live, you must breathe. So positivity is perhaps the only way. And long before the medical vaccines are invented and tried and tested on human beings, the social vaccine, the moral vaccine, the emotional vaccine and the spiritual vaccine are perhaps the most important in creating a positive climate for humanity to face this crisis. Wherever we live, in any corner of this earth, in any country, each one of us should be deeply thankful and grateful to the country and the country leader that is guiding us. Please follow the procedures and the rules and regulations established by the country. That in the long run is going to help. The measures may seem harsh, even lockdowns, even the regulations seem difficult, isolation seems challenging, but that's perhaps the only and the wisest way to stop this disease spreading. We are personally thankful to India's Prime Minister for taking the right steps, and also to the leaders around the world who are taking appropriate steps collectively. Our thankfulness should be shown by our complete support and willingness to follow them with all our heart. And I do pray that God guides us and helps us through these difficult times in every way possible.